So here we have rackets. We should know about them now. These are substitute feelings for feelings that were not permitted in childhood. These were the feelings that were stroked. And notice that Finita says they are formed from 2 to 5 years old. Well, authentic feelings, racket feelings. Are there any other feelings?
Somatic.
Interesting, aren't they? Because, and this is where, I'm presenting a kind of critique now and a kind of getting you to kind of put different theories into perspective here, because I want to introduce you to the work of Tony White, who I think has written a superb article in CAJ in 1996 on character feelings. Now, his argument is this. His argument in this very clever article is that we have two different kinds of feelings. We have temporary feelings, which are reactive, and we have character feelings, which are more permanent, and they are felt much deeper down, and they feel as though they are our essential trait feelings. He says they are endogenous, which means that it feels like right at the centre of our being, that this is an inborn, almost as though we have an inborn predisposition towards certain feelings. How come some people are so angry all the time? And really it's like their default position is to feel angry. Or some people feel so sad, so really sad all the time, and their default position is to feel that enormous sadness. Is sadness their racket? Is anger their racket? Or is it actually their character feeling? And this is why I want to suggest this to you in your vocabulary of feelings as transaction analysts. Now what he does is he draws a graph. Now, to be honest, I've put two of his graphs together in the one I've done up there, but I'll take you through this one first of all. He says feelings, reactive feelings, change rapidly. Feelings that we have that are a response to a particular stimuli, an authentic response to a particular stimuli, actually don't last very long. Here's the stimulus here, and they rise to a peak, and you often feel the full body reaction at the peak of the feeling, and then the feeling subsides, and it's over. And so we don't have to be frightened about working with people's reactive feelings. We know that it will be experienced, and some of our job is to help it reach its full height of expression, full intensity of expression. But what he is saying is that character feelings don't do this. They don't reach their height and relax. It's like they go on all the time in a perpetual way. And if you look at this one here, I think I've done something similar. I can't remember if I've done the same diagram. We've got the stimulus. It leads to a kind of high tension in body expression, and then it's relaxed over. And then after the relaxation, we experience the relief. But here there is some relief once the feeling has been expressed and dealt with. Now the point he's making here is that these character feelings are different. And if you look at this picture here, you'll see underneath the surface we might have our character feelings, and at the surface level we have those temporary feelings. But those feelings from the character level, if you look at the diagram there, you can see them emerging from underneath the character level, emerging right up to the surface level. And basically he says character feelings do not change rapidly, but temporary feelings do. And the point now then about character feelings is what he does with them, and you can see why I am really interested in them, and I'm interested in them because they relate to my own theory about primal wounds. And some of you have heard me talk about primal wounds, abandonment, engulfment, hurt, and non-relationship. Do you remember that stuff? Are you remembering that? So, for me, this has always been enormously important because this comes in before script. For me, the primary wounds are our responses, if you like, that are the protocol, rather at the protocol level of our script, not at the later script level. So we're talking about pre-2 years old. We're talking about pre-verbal as a response to sometimes very, very early childhood experience. And childhood experience that challenges our attachment, engulfment, abandonment, particularly are the ones that Tony White focuses on. And what he says is that the character feelings result from what happened to the child in relationship with its parents. So much, much earlier. And he does it, if you can see here, he draws, I don't think he draws a continuum. And you see at one end of this continuum you have abandonment, and at the other end you've got engulfment. And here's a kind of normal range in the middle here. And what he is saying is that if a child is abandoned as a baby or experiences abandonment, what do they do? What is their experience? Well, if it's just a mild bit of an abandonment, they'll be angry. They'll be really angry that the parent has left them, has turned away from them, or has not been present for them enough. So anger is the response there, and you can see. But if that anger, if the abandonment is more than that, and the anger isn't paid attention to, the child goes then into scare and in anxiety, fearfulness. If you can imagine, if a parent isn't present, that's a terrifying experience for a child. The child feels that they might actually be abandoned or be left on their own or without any secure base. So here you can see that fear might develop as a character feeling if that's the degree of abandonment that they found. Going on beyond that, if the abandonment is even more severe, the child will experience despair, and even more so, the child who actually experiences what René Spitz, you remember, talked about as miasmus, and may actually even die. I mean, actually, if we are totally abandoned, we die if we are babies or young children, no doubt about it. And those young orphans abandoned in the Romanian orphanages who suffered miasmus, the spine shrivelling up, came pretty close to psychotic experiences, and indeed many did die. So can you see that this continuum is a very serious continuum, and if we have suffered a great deal of abandonment, we might have character anger or character fear here, or a character feeling even of despair here as a result of abandonment. If we are at the other end and we were engulfed by parents, again, here, if we were engulfed, our parents told us what to think, what to feel, or they didn't give us the space to grow and to be ourselves, we would feel some mild anger. But if the engulfment is more severe than that, he said there are two different results. One is passivity, when people go into fear and sadness, and this would be the passive arena, or they go into an aggressive zone, become aggressive and violent and angry and that. So what he is doing is trying to to show how character feelings might be formed as a result of our primal wounds. He doesn't call them that, of course.